Hello, members. This is Tom Morrison right here from Nashville, Tennessee, your home office here at the Metal Treating Institute. We're excited to be here today at another broadcast of Heat Treat Live to share with you great resources. We're listening as you're talking, and we're trying to bring you the greatest things you can to make your business thrive as we move through this COVID timeframe. I know everybody's looking forward to getting out of that and over there, right, out of COVID. So we're excited here. We got a couple great guests, but I want to just tell you, there are a lot of exciting elements taking place at MTI. And I want you to know that we're here to help you maximize that. So if you ever have an opportunity where you say, you know what, I want to see how I can maximize my benefits or the resources MTI has for me, man, call me at tom@heattreat.com, email me there, or email our Director of Meeting Experience, Kristen Spear, at kristen@heattreat.net. It's our first names at heattreat.net, Tom or Kristen, and that's Kristen. Do that and schedule up a 15-minute Zoom call with us just like this. Every time we unpack the things that we can do for you, members are in awe about the things that they can get access to. So we want you to be maximizing that. I mean, our Technical Standards Committee working on your behalf at NADCAP, at AMEC, at ASTM, they're just doing a wonderful job in the aerospace specs and all those, really fighting for you to make sure they're reasonable and keeping quality high and safety. And then we got our new forecasting report that we released at our February ITR economics forecast. You want to make sure you're tying into that to see where 7 industries that drive your sales, how they're going to look the next 3 years, man. Data is so critical today. And then we look at our spring meeting. Guess what? We're going live, baby. We're going live at the spring meeting. And guess what? Here's the cool thing. It's exciting because we've got 92% of the room block is already sold out, which is very exciting. Our members want to get out of their plants and go connect with each other and talk about how's business, how's cost, how are things, what are bugging you, how can we do better together. So great things. But the great thing that we're going to talk about today is our new plant tour video production benefit that's coming right to you. And today we're going to kind of unpack that. Why should you be doing a video for your plant? Why should you take advantage of that? What are the keys? So let's jump right into it. So today we have with us Mr. Jim Wacksman from Association Studios. We have worked with Jim for since 2009. All these great videos that you see at Furnaces North America at our meetings and stuff, Jim's team puts those together. He's put together a lot of our training videos. And then we have Mary Springer, who's a former past president from 2006 from Thermtech. So Jim, real quick, welcome yourself and tell everybody a little about what does Jim Wacksman do day to day?
Well, thank you, Tom. Hello, everybody. It's exciting to be here. We're talking about one of the things that I enjoy the most to one of the people that I enjoy the most. So it's a good day already. So I produce video, and I started a company in 2007 to produce video for nonprofit organizations. And it's been like everybody's industry, just such a crazy ride in 14 years here of how much things have evolved and changed. And we've also had now an opportunity to work with a lot of for-profit companies as well. But at the heart of what we do is teach. And so I really want to help you and anybody who wants to get the most out of their marketing and communication. I want to help you do that the best you possibly can with video. And I'm going to cut to the chase. At the end of it all, what I really want to be is a resource for you to know that you can always reach out to me. I can help answer questions and help you communicate that message.
Awesome, Jim. And, you know, he's going to help because members, the board in our January strategic planning meeting, we asked, how have things changed that we need to change how we do things for our members so that they can thrive in this coming economy? Well, we're moving from an analog physical economy to a very digital economy. And one of the things Mary is going to share that she brought up is the fact that many of the salespeople are struggling connecting in with customers because they can't go in their plants and the customers can't come to their plants due to travel restrictions. So what do? Well, plant videos makes that big thing. So we listened to members and we struck a great deal with Jim Wacksman, what we're going to announce later, for him to be the featured company that can do plant tours. And we're going to talk about that at the very, very end. So that's why he's saying he wants to help you, because we've worked with him since 2009 doing MTI stuff. Now we're going to transition that opportunity to him bringing those talents to your companies and doing that. So we've already got 2 companies that have signed up to do it, and they've been very pleased with it. So Miss Mary Springer, known you were here when I came on board. You were president right at that time, and it's been an exciting ride to be alongside you in this.
At the airport for your interview.
I know.
Or you picked me up. That's right.
It's been so long ago now. I think it's the 16 years now I've been here. I haven't done anything for 16 years, but actually be on this earth. So you are the second biggest relationship I have in my life besides my children.
Wow.
So tell everybody a little bit about Mary Springer.
Well, I've been in the industry for a long time now. I think maybe getting close to 30 years. Our company was established in 1982, so we're coming up on our 40th anniversary. My brother and I are partners in the business, and we work to complement each other pretty well. We have been focused a little bit on trying to, heat treaters have to continually reinvent yourself and make sure that you're relevant in your market, because our market's always changing. A video is a nice tool because you can change it along, as you change and as your company grows and develops. I have to compliment Jason Kupkovitz, our VP of Sales, with starting the concept here of having a company video and using it to promote your business. Our very first one was kind of a rebranding video back in 2012, and we used it to just kind of establish a new mood in our company,
Right.
that we're going forward. We had a new look, a new logo. We featured a lot of our employees who had tenure in the company, had them talk, I've been here for how many years, and did a big group shot of all of our people. It was really kind of an uplifting experience. The second one we did last year, and it really was prior to COVID, Jason was noticing that a lot of our sales, the purchasing people, were much younger, and they were going to the internet to shop, and the environment was changing. It wasn't like you called the old purchasing guy, or he called you and you talked on the phone and you reviewed a project. It was all kind of going digital, and they wanted a reference that they could go to and see your plant and visually see.
It's a virtual fist pump, right?
Right, because they oftentimes, people don't know what heat treating is. They don't know what they're buying, and they needed a quick reference. So that's why we started, redoing our plant tour video. And we had made a lot of changes in our facility, so we went through the process again. And we found that we really were getting a far reach geographically with our video. And I think it really ended up being that we were surprised to see how much new business we were able to get because we had it. And then, of course, with COVID, it's an excellent tool both for customers and job interview people, just to give them an idea of who you are and what you're all about.
Well, it's kind of saved some of that down the mix. So that's awesome, Mary. I appreciate you doing that. What I love, when I asked Mary to be on this webcast for one specific reason. Every time I thought, she's like many of our heat treaters. She's on the front cusp of things that they need to stay competitive and thriving in a changing marketplace. Every time I call her, I'm like, hey, have you thought about this? And she's like, Tom, we're ahead of that game. And so I've always enjoyed having Mary on because their company.
I've got good people.
Well, there you go. That's true. It's good for a leader to have that. So Jim, let me jump back to you.
Sure.
Video has been an evolving thing over the last 10 years, a major asset and resource for companies, small and big. So why is that? Why is video now so important to the marketing strategy of any company?
It's a great question, and the most simple and obvious thing that every single person knows already is a picture says 1,000 words. And so 10 years ago, and for the last decade, you would see savvy marketers and communications professionals, very much like yourself, Tom, who has always been on the forefront of using video to reach out to your members in industry. But you would see them use video as this tool in a very smart way. So much so and so obvious that even the big companies like Google let everybody know that video is how you're going to rank higher, get on page 1. Like it just became so obvious that way. But it has moved from something that is a really smart thing to do to, in this last year, in the COVID era, frankly, just essential. I mean, it's gone from like, this is nice to figure out because there's so many benefits that Mary mentioned, many of them already, to Absolutely essential. Now it is how you let somebody in an era where travel and one-on-one communication, in-person communication is super, super challenging. So now it's just absolutely essential.
Well, I kind of look at it too. When someone, Mary alluded to it, so when someone walks in your business, someone says, "Hey, how you doing?" There's a personal voice there. When someone comes, if someone needs heat treating, or they need to look something up, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go to Google and type in, and if you're, and they, and if, let's say they happen to land on your company, they click your company and open that door and come to your site. If the site says nothing to them, they're probably going to walk away. But if they see a nice little square video screen, they go, "Oh, I want to check that out," and they check it. Now you're talking to them in a conversation, and you're able to do that. So Mary, look at that. So you mentioned employees and how you're creating your videos and stuff. So what other, I mean, how important is video playing? You mentioned it's happening to help you get more sales. How's it really helping you do that? What's kind of, where have y'all placed it and how have y'all done it?
Well, I think when a customer can go to a reference like that and watch the short video, it says a lot more to them than you might remember to say in a phone call. You know, what are your certifications? What processes do you have? Show me your shop. Is it clean? Is it organized? What does it look like? And I think there's just no way that you can convey some of that, because we've had some customers call and say, I didn't know you guys had IS or AS 9100 certification.
And you're like, it's on our invoice that you get every time.
Yeah, yeah. But all of the things that you want to convey are at their fingertips, and they learn a lot more about your organization, and they get a flavor of it if
Right.
it's done like that, what you're all about.
Sure. And you know what I love, Jim, about this, and you've done thousands of videos over the last 14 years, and we've been there since almost day one. And you know me, I love making videos that tell amazing stories. But what I love more is a video that motivates someone to do something. That's to me when a video is effective, whether it's call you, email you, want to do business with you. And I've always had the concepts that any good video has to have a mission, a message, and the key is music. A lot of people say, "Tom, where do you get your ideas for your videos?" I go sit in movies about 20 minutes early. When we could go to movies, can't do that anymore. But I watch movie trailers all the time to see the ideas, because movie trailers make you either not want to watch a movie or make you want to come back. And the key component to me is when the right music flows with the message. So anybody that's ever been to F&A or watched some of our highlight videos, they're like movie trailers, and you've been a big part of that. So what are some ways that you've seen companies take something that people may not get, but they want to motivate them to do something, and how they put those videos together? How have you seen companies using video innovatively?
Well, video is all about telling a story, and every company out there has a story to tell, and they have an audience there who wants to receive that story. The point is to try and match the two up. But some of the things that Mary has mentioned are, so it is, yes, for your customers and your potential customers, your industry that you're going out to, but video is also for your employees. And it's also a great recruitment tool. It's also great for just communication within the organization. So we see video, and that's been part of the evolution, I think, because video, frankly, used to be a lot more difficult to produce, and because of that, it was a lot more expensive. Well, now video has become a lot more consumerized and easier to produce. Things don't take nearly the amount of time or resources to produce. So it's easier and a lot more cost effective to be communicating with lots of videos, not just one video, but using it as a true communications tool out to your customers, your industry, your employees, etc.
Yeah, awesome. So now, Mary, what was your team meetings like? Just to give members a sense of, okay, so what's step one as a heat treater? What was kind of the beginning process and kind of the planning meetings that you put together to kind of get your video moving?
Jason took a lot of time to really think about what we wanted to showcase, what parts of our plant, what processes. And the planning was really important, because you want to make sure that all of the resources, all the people are there that you want to showcase doing the work or demonstrating the job, that you coordinate with your maintenance department to make sure that the equipment looks good and that that it's something you want to show off. Looking at the area, making sure that safety is a consideration, that you're doing things, that you're following industry policies, and that things are staged properly. Not that safety is staged, but just making sure that you're doing things correctly. And then the day, having a schedule for the day. We're going to be here. We have 3 different plant locations
Mm-hmm.
kind of close together, and that people traveled from one to the other to make sure that you've got a nice timetable list saying where they're going to be and when, and having people on the ground to help you coordinate so that you can get done in a reasonable amount of time.
Awesome. So everybody on here, I assume, is probably either the owner that's involved in marketing or someone from the marketing division of their company. And so I read recently, I'm not a reader. I hate to read. I like to read little articles, little snippets, things that keep me in today. But I read something that said that successful CEOs read an average of 30 books a year. And I'm like, what's that mean for me? I'm reading nothing. So I finally decided I'm going to go to Audible and pay the $15, and I'm going to listen to very effective books that can help me be best at what I'm doing. And it's really pertinent to today because the first 2 books I've started reading, one is called Business Made Simple by Don Miller. Phenomenal book on marketing management. It is a great book for anyone to read. It's all talking about the different facets of building your brand. And his follow-up book is Building a Story Brand. And the first thing he said in the first chapter resonates right here so well, because when you go back to what I talked about a video, it needs to have a mission. You just can't be all over the place. Your video has to have a mission as to what do you want to tell and accomplish in that video. It needs to have a good message, and it needs to have good music behind it. And the fourth thing that he talks about is it needs to motivate. You need to determine what is the call to action. And what he said was when you look at people's websites, you look at their direct mail pieces, or you look at their videos, they're throwing noise of messaging to the customer for questions that they're not even answering. They're not even asking. You're answering questions they're not asking. What you're not doing, though, is tell them very specifically what you can do for them that solves their deepest pain points and why they're going to be better afterward than before. That's so crucial, I think. I mean, Jim, would you agree with that people, when they're looking at their messaging for the video, they really have to put the focus on what is it we exactly want to communicate that we can help them with, and then what's the action step we want them to take when they're done with the video?
100%, absolutely. One of the things that I really try to capture in interviewing is what is the most important thing to you that you want your customers or potential future customers to know. Like, it's so important to, when you say, messaging and being on point, to really think about those things. It doesn't mean giving long answers. Shorter the better, really. But really being on point with that. And then, yes, what is that call to action? What are those next steps? Who do you reach out to after you've seen this? It does not take much at all on the front end, but to move forward without thinking about that first, you're just not going to set yourself up for the kind of success that you're looking for.
And to pull that off, so many people, and this is what I've learned with doing business with you for years, which I love, and it's really helped our association out, is most people think video production, camera crews, all kinds of big equipment, many people, expense editing, and deliver it back, and boom, now we got this big check. How are we going to get that? So you've proven to me, Jim, that you can actually, a team can come in, your company has been able to do videos for us at a very affordable rate, and the couple of members that have already taken advantage of it have been very pleased. So kind of unpack what the expectation of that down is as to what people can expect when they're, looking to drive video.
Well, anybody who's done video before, they're probably not wrong for thinking, wow, this is a really big, elaborate process. And it takes a lot of people and a lot of time and people, take a lot of money, because, not much more than 10 years ago, that's exactly right. One of my favorite stories that I like to tell in another presentation that I have is about my favorite camera that I ever purchased. I was only a year into the business, and I purchased this $20,000 camera Did not run that past the wife first, but went and purchased this $20,000 camera. And 2 months after purchasing that camera, my creative director comes into the studio and says, "Have you seen this thing?" And it was a plasticky Canon DSLR camera, T2i they called it, that was probably $400. No professional in their right mind. So of course he shows me, and the evidence was just right there. It was so clear
Right.
that this $400 camera was out shooting my $20,000 piece of equipment. So the point of all this is to say that technology is changing my industry just as much as it's changing everybody else's. The videos that used to take us 3 weeks just to get a first draft to you, used to take so much time, now take us 10 and 20 hours. So the amount of time that we need to dedicate to productions has dropped tremendously. And you can see that, and that goes back to how we operate, particularly with nonprofits. We price ourselves accordingly for that. So things have really changed a lot. You can shoot fantastic video with mobile phones and with action cameras like GoPros and things like that. But all of that technology has really served to make production go a lot faster, a whole lot better, way better looking for sure. And then ultimately less expensive, which is really important for producing more video and treating it like a communication tool, not just this one big marketing expense.
Well, and what we're going to do, members, is we're going to unveil at the end of this. I'm going to show you the package price and stuff that we've got on the page that Jim has set up for members to order their video. And what I love about Jim's company and how they do business is they have a great thing called the is it VPN?
VPMA.
Yeah, VPMA, and we've actually used it to do the videos that MTI does with Jim, and it's totally electronic. Where we have created, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos, and I've never had to talk to a person. It's all uploadable. You get an account, and you upload your assets. You approve the script and everything right through this, and it's such an efficient system, and you can turn things around. So one of the things I love doing business with companies that are on the front cusp of efficiencies of getting the job done, which is a part of the process. So Mary, what are some of the lessons learned, as you mentioned a couple of them, what are some of the lessons learned that you would say to members as they're looking to in the planning process? What should they pay attention to?
Well, I think your point about what do you want to convey and what's your mission basically is really important. It's, in general, when you're planning something, you think with the end in mind and you want to know where you're going. And I think that's a really important concept to start with. But the planning process involves people and ask for their ideas. When your employees are such an important asset in the process, because it's such a source of pride for them to be included in some of the filming and their area and what do you want to showcase. Try to go around and ask people, and then take notes and really sit down and make sure you plan every minute of that day, because it really will go. It's well worth it. It goes a lot smoother.
Well, and what I would say too is having Jim come from one of our other members already, I think a big planning lesson is think past the plant tour, because when Jim got into this particular plant and they started filming, he automatically thought, well, what if we'd had footage that we could use to build a video of why I work here? So as you start building your video process, automatically think through what kind of footage, because they're already in your plan. It costs nothing more to have them for the day. That's costing nothing more to get all kinds of testimonies. Employees talk about why they like to work there, and you just get all this footage.
We did a short with our employees, especially the ones who had been there for a while, and we just focused on their face, and we said, how long have you worked here? And they'd say, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, because we wanted to convey the depth of our knowledge.
Sure.
And that we had a deep bench, and just the pride that came through in their smiles when they said that. And then some of the employees that had worked 15, 20, 25 years we asked them to say a few words, and it was really compelling when they got a little interview about why they're here and kind of where they came from, and there's a lot of pride there.
Very neat.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Mary, is for people to think through what would be important for the customer to hear to make them go, I want to do business with them. And one of the things you just mentioned, longevity, quality, those kind of things. I mean, Jim, let me ask you, Jim, what are some things that you've seen that companies should not do in the video process? Is there any thoughts on that? I mean, that's half the battle, is knowing what not to do.
What a great and funny question. Yeah, I've definitely seen some what not to do's for sure. I'm trying to think of the best way to go about answering that, though. Really, one of the things that's been emphasized today is put the time in on the front end. You don't want to have things like soda cans in a shot, and things that you just wouldn't want. Like, just be thinking as if a potential great customer is going to walk through your floor. What would you not want them to see in there? Sometimes people get a little bit anxious about the interviewing process.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to convey, there's absolutely no reason to be anxious about that at all. It is so easy. We ask questions that everybody will be really familiar with. And so it doesn't need to be overthought at all. It's just something that we just pull little bits of the best things out in the final video. It's not going all for documentation or anything like that.
It really is funny. I mean, Mary, you may have experienced this, but it is funny to watch people. This is just kind of a side tangent because it's hilarious. But watching people, I've been in a cocktail party with MTI members, and I'm talking. They go, "Yeah, man, I love being a member of MTI. They do this, this, and this," and they go through this passionate plea. I go, "Hey, can you come with me for a few moments?" And I take them outside the room and put them in front of a light with a camera. And I say, "Hey, let me ask you the question. And could you just say what you just said?" And when I ask the question, "Man, what do you love about MTI?" They're like, "Well, I really like how they do their forecast." I'm like, no, back in there. Go back in there. I want that passion.
Give me the energy.
But you got it right, Jim, is to let your people know that, look, this is just a conversation. And I've always felt it's easier to answer questions if you just have a conversation by asking a leading question. So, because it's easy for somebody, even for me, if somebody stands and says, "Tom, what do you like working here?" And I know the camera's there, but I just answer the question in a very natural way. It makes it so much easier to do that. So that you're right.
And Tom, I'll also add in there that I view everything that I do from our company as like a partnership. So I want to give a lot of comfort to. We're very skilled, and I know exactly what I'm doing, with that camera and that interview. So there's nothing that anybody else needs to be concerned with about that. But that's what we bring to the partnership, is our expertise in video production.
Well, I think also what I like about it is because you've been with us since 2009 and you've retaped a lot of our video training, and you've been in many heat treat plants with me. So Jim knows from a perspective of how to get the furnace and get those best shots. That's what they're very skilled at, which is what I really love. So I want to do one thing. I'm going to share my screen, members, and I'm going to show you the page that we're going to put on our website, just so you can kind of see how this is going to work out. We've made this a very simple process. Share my screen here and give you all a sense of what it's going to look like. So here is what it's going to look like. When you go to our website, there'll be a link to go to Association Studios and Metal Treating Institute, and it gives an explanation of what we're going to do. And so here's the two options. So we're going to have a sample video here that we're actually doing from a member right now, that you'll be able to see an actual video. But option one is you're going to give some motion graphics and upload some high-res pictures from your plant. This is the first step option if you got a low budget. So $2,500, they're going to help you approve a script that you're going to approve with them that tells your story in a very compelling way. You're going to get a professional voiceover on it that tells your story. I've heard their voiceovers. They're very good. And then you're going to get the motion graphics with all the pictures intertwined that tell your story. And you'll get back a 3 to 4 minute video that's really high end and professional, that gets you to the first step in. The second option is going to be option 2, which is going to be a full service one, which you'll get the script writing, the professional voiceover, all the motion graphics. But here's what they're going to do. They're going to come to your plant at their cost. They're going to come to your plant for it's $5,000. They show up at your plant at their cost. They spend an entire day videotaping all the footage after you've planned out what do you want to do, and they'll help you strategically plan those things I talked about: mission, message, music, and motive. And then the travel expenses are included. So you'll get back a 4 to 5 minute video that does that thing that we talked about. Why do you exist? What do you offer? What problems do you solve? And what's the action steps you want the customer to take? You get back after a couple of weeks of working it through. And then you'll be able to use your video for your website as well as all your social media. So this web page, and by the way, the cost here is really affordable for what you're going to be getting when you look at it for the long view of that. I remember I had a CEO of a association, Tool Manufacturers Association in Chicago, about 8 years ago, heard that we were doing business with Jim, and he talked about it, and he saw our videos. He goes, I want to do that for our association. And so they're in Chicago, and he went around all of Chicago and tried to find a place to do it. And it was so expensive. I said, look, fly down to Jim and work it out. Well, they were able to fly down to Tallahassee, Florida from Chicago. They struck a deal, and Jim did it for about half of what Chicago wanted to charge. And that included their travel down, 2 days there filming, and they left back, and that included dinner and drinks with Jim and stuff. So they're a highly professional organization, do impeccable work, treat people with great respect because they've been in associations like us forever. But here's your 2 options, and you'll be able to order your video up right here from the website as you go to get the process started. So that kind of gives you a sense of where the process is and the partnership that we have. So Mary and Jim, any like closing comments that you think members should take away from this, other than just do it, because here's what I know. I'm with you, Mary. The next 5 to 10 years, actually the next 24 months, those plants that take this option in their strategy of marketing are going to vault ahead of those that do not, because we're turning into a very digital society. And it was talked about at our board meeting that a lot of salespeople are struggling to connect with owners because, they're used to the handshake, they're used to having the drink, they're used to, having that camaraderie. And what's powerful is now you can build a 4 or 5 minute video that can tell your compelling story that they can use every single time with every single customer.
And it gets them to your website to look at, you have a lot of other good stuff there too. I presume that you'd want people to see and learn about you. I think more and more, if you want to reach out geographically, it's a must, because you might be surprised at some of the opportunities we've gotten. We wouldn't have known that they were there without it. Another comment is just really the begin with the end in mind. Can't stress that enough. Like, what are you trying to do? And if you really envision it and try to get your mission across, as a company, will be really successful. Right.
That's good comments. Jim, what about you? What's kind of the big thing you want to say?
Like you said, let's get started. The sooner that you do this, the more options we have in the schedule, the sooner we'll be able to produce video for you to begin using for all the great reasons that Mary and you, Tom, have mentioned in there. And then also I really want to get across something I said at the very beginning, that I truly am here to be a resource for you. I probably spend about half of my time with Association Studios helping organizations and companies come up with what those videos are going to be like. And so sharing ideas. So hopefully sometime, in the next few days, you can go on and choose one of those 2 packages that is going to be best for your needs. But also, please reach out to me and we can talk about it together and we can find the best strategy for you.
Great, Jim. So members, don't worry about writing. Hold on. We got a question here from one of our good members, Phil Harris. So Jim, how do you create differentiation amongst a bunch of companies doing the same processes? So how do you stand out? Great question, Phil.
Yeah, no, that is a great question. But it comes with really, first for me in the pre-production process, asking the questions to you, the customer we're partnering with, what are the core values that you want to get across? And sure, they're often similar, but you also hear different things as well. So it's not necessarily to say that your video needs to convey that you're better than somebody down the street or this or that, but it needs to convey that you are the best that you can possibly be, and that here are your values and what your customers can expect from you. So I hope that makes sense, but it really comes in that pre-production of what matters most to you to get across in that video.
Right, and just so members know, I know a lot of people, I like a process when I go to create something where I go, you know what, I'd love to have some samples to look at because it helps you know where to start. So members, if you go to callmti.com, that's our outsourcing site where we send captives to educate them on why outsource to a commercial heat treater. It's callmti.com, and you go there, there's a link at the top called Featured Plant Tours. There's about 8 plant tours there already done. This Jim has it done. These are plant tours that we've gotten from members over time, and I know we're gonna we'll have Mary's newest video there, but you can go there and click on all these plant tours and watch them and get ideas of the shots they did and what they're saying and how they approach it. So that'll give you a starting point to do that. But Jim is right on. Get involved in this, put your team together, have a strategy, connect with Jim. Jim's information, if you go to our website at heattreat.net, you'll see a link at the top that says our industry support team, and you click there, and he'll be the first one because his name begins with A with Association Studios. You'll be able to, his email and stuff will be, his contact information will be there, as well as the link to order up your video so that you can, and we'll be announcing this through our weekly e-news in the next week or so. So you'll get all the information to get involved in the process, because here's the last thing I want to leave you with in this process. I listened to a podcast by a guy named Russell Brunson, who's a phenomenal marketer. And I love the comments that he says. He says, the most successful companies, and hear me on this, marketers, the most successful companies are not those that fall in love with their product. They fall in love with the marketing. When you love the marketing aspect, the product just comes. But there's many people that have great products they love, but they don't love and have a passion for the marketing of that product. So keep that in mind as you're working it through. But Jim, thank you so much for your valuable resource and connecting with us and partnering with us. Mary, thank you for all your service and all the things that you've done in innovation, helping us keep MTI on the front cusp. And members, thank you for listening in and spending your time here. We want to be the greatest resource because our goal is your success every single day. Because you're not just strong, you are MTI strong, and we're here for you and for your success. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tom and Mary. It's been a pleasure. Goodbye, everybody.